History typically starts with writing, symbols pressed into clay tablets, names carved into stone, paper fixed with ink. That instant when marks ceased to fade and memory turned permanent is where most history books start their opening page. All that came before it gets crammed into one ambiguous term: prehistory. A period without records, without cities, without civilization, as though no truly human events had occurred yet. But this notion conceals a far deeper issue. Modern humans have been around for about 300,000 years. Bodies similar to ours, brains similar to ours. The identical ability for language, emotion, creativity, and imagination. Yet nearly all we term history spans just the past 5,000 years. That amounts to under 2% of our time here. The other 98% gets handled as a silent introduction, a haze, a holding area before the actual narrative started. This isn't due to nothing occurring. It's because virtually nothing got recorded in writing. Writing acts as a strong sieve. It determines what endures and what vanishes. When we permit writing to outline history, we let all without it slip into quietness. Whole realms shrink to a mere note just because they left no ink traces. But quietness doesn't imply non-existence. For the majority of our era on this planet, humans existed without cities, without agriculture, without rulers, and without documentation. They left scant lasting evidence, like stone implements, bones, charcoal, subtle colors on cavern walls. And still, across that immense period, individuals led complete lives. They raised kids, tackled issues, adjusted to harsh weather, built social ties, created artwork, shared tales, gazed at the starry sky, and pondered its significance. They weren't anticipating becoming human. They were human already. Before we proceed further, you're welcome to share in the comments your current location and what time it is there now. I truly like reading those notes. There's a subtle charm in watching these inquiries move through various spots, time zones, and existences. And as usual, the visuals shown here aim simply to provide mood and background. Thanks for joining and for backing this exploration. The concept that humanity started with civilization feels reassuring. It offers a tidy starting spot, a feeling of advancement, a direct path from unawareness to insight. But the further we examine, the more that path fades away. What takes its place isn't disorder, but something much more disturbing. A long, overlooked thread of human life, extending well past what history recalls. The individuals from 200,000 years back weren't basic forms of us. They weren't partially developed. They weren't lacking a key element. If you met one face to face, you wouldn't encounter a being on humanity's fringe. You'd meet someone resembling you, someone able to identify your expressions, your fear, your happiness, your sorrow. Dress them in contemporary attire and they'd blend into a city crowd. Their brains matched yours in size. Their neural setup mirrored the same designs. With opportunity and familiarity, they could grasp language, math, technology, not as outliers, but because they were human from the start. So the inquiry isn't when humans gained intelligence. The inquiry is why we overlooked that they possessed it already. For quite a while, knowledge wasn't stored on paper. It resided in individuals, in recollection, in reiteration, in narratives handed from one speaker to another, in abilities acquired via watching and doing, in ceremonies that embedded significance without words. This type of knowledge doesn't turn into fossils readily. It fades when the final carrier departs. Time wipes away wood and thread. Water engulfs shores. Ice flattens terrains. And at the close of the last ice age, seas rose by hundreds of feet. Whole seaside realms vanished under the waves. Locations where humans possibly dwelled for many thousands of years now lie inaccessible. Their narratives melted away too. What persists is a skewed view, one making early humanity seem sparse, basic, and hushed. But this stems from preservation's illusion, not from truth. If a later society examined our era solely via plastic and rock, they'd overlook most of what defines us. Our tunes, our talks, our convictions, our anxieties, our connections. They could presume we led superficial existences amid items without grasping the meaning systems that once brought them alive. That's the error we chance committing about our own history. History recalls monuments since they last. It recalls cities since they yield ruins. It recalls leaders since they etch their names in rock. But for much of human time, there was no place to etch and nothing lasting to construct. People shifted with seasons. They adjusted to evolving surroundings. They bore their knowledge along. This lifestyle doesn't proclaim itself boldly to posterity. It murmurs. And murmurs get overlooked easily. There's an additional cause this extended human tale seems remote. It contests the progress story we depend on for self-understanding. If humans were complex well before civilization, then current society isn't the origin of our smarts or inventiveness. It's merely one version of it, a fresh one, potent but not unavoidable. That insight can seem uneasy. It hints that cities aren't humanity's peak, but a side path, that writing didn't invent thought, but seized only a sliver of what was there already. That art, meaning, and connection might have flourished in shapes we don't identify now. It also compels us to face a profounder fact. History didn't commence when humans grew intriguing. It started when memory figured out surviving death. All prior to that wasn't vacant. It was merely delicate. In the extended darkness before history, no libraries existed, no calendars, no names chiseled in stone. But people gathered by fires sharing tales worth recalling. Children learned reading terrains like we read displays. Elders retained knowledge unwritable, yet needing to be experienced. This is our tale's true start. Not with cities, not with writing, but with the query history never mastered asking. Were we human already long before history mastered remembering us? Pause now. Allow that query to sink in, since all that comes next tries answering it. Picture encountering someone from 300,000 years past. Not a crude outline from a book, not a semi-formed shape huddled in gloom. A genuine individual upright, gazing back with eyes recognizing curiosity and wariness, just as yours do. They wouldn't appear odd. Their stature would match modern norms. Their shoulders, hips, limbs would shift with identical poise and effectiveness. Their cranium rounded. Their face less protruding than prior humankind's, their chin pronounced, the clear mark of our anatomy. This isn't guesswork. It's what bones reveal. The earliest recognized fossils of anatomically modern humans came from North Africa's Jebel Irhoud site. When first revealed, experts thought they fit the known schedule neatly, maybe 200,000 years old, a safe gap from today. But dates returned older, far older, over 300,000 years. That one find triggered a subtle overhaul of all we believed known. Modern humans didn't arise abruptly near prehistory's close. They surfaced deep inside it, and not in one secluded spot. Comparable relics started showing up throughout Africa, Ethiopia, Kenya, South Africa. Varied areas linked by travel and gene exchange. Not one origin, but a web. From the outset, our species was broad, linked, and flexible. And within those craniums lay something more remarkable. Brains matching ours in size, volume, general build. Same zones tied to language, memory, emotion, imagination. No absent part, no immature section, no hint something vital hadn't shaped yet. Biologically, they were us already. This poses a paradox unsettling researchers still. If humans resembled and thought like us so soon, why does the archaeological evidence stay hushed for so long? Why do our first 100,000 years seem nearly unseen? For ages, the explanation appeared clear. They possessed modern forms, but not modern intellects. Maybe smarts arrived later. Maybe symbolic thinking developed gradually. Maybe brain changes happened long post-body evolution. But this rationale weakens with each fresh find. The issue isn't early humans missing smarts. The issue is smarts don't fossilize. Stone tools 300,000 years old display planning and accuracy already. Crafting them needed grasping angles, force, material traits. It needed envisioning a finished shape beforehand. It needed teaching and learning over generations. These aren't signs of a mind awakening still. But tools by themselves don't disclose self-perception. They don't show if someone pondered futures or reflected on pasts. They don't indicate if a person sensed awe, fear, or purpose viewing the world. For such hints, we depend on behavior traces that seldom endure. Pigments, ornaments, interments, items made not solely to work, but to mean. And here, timelines extend deeper than once thought. Ochre scraps ground and scraped with precision. Shells gathered distant from seas and drilled for threading. Designs etched in stone serving no clear practical role. These indicators surface tens of thousands of years sooner than anticipated. They surface softly, dispersed, simple to ignore. But collectively, they imply something key. Symbolic thought's capacity didn't spark abruptly. It existed already, awaiting settings letting it leave traces. Early humans dwelled in small bands across huge terrains. Population was sparse. Innovation spread slowly. Many concepts might have arisen and faded in one band, leaving no mark past memory. This doesn't mean those concepts were basic. It means they were delicate. A drought alone, shifting weather, a lost generation, and whole customs could disappear. Not from weakness, but from living solely in people. If intelligence spoke, it'd sound thus. We thought long before recording. Evidence's absence often gets confused with absence's evidence. But viewing early humans' bodies and brains, that confusion grows tougher to uphold. They possessed all needed for full humanity. Hands for precision, voices for language, minds for abstraction. What they missed was lastingness. Writing eventually solved that. But writing also redefined knowledge. What writable would endure, what not would fade. So deep past started seeming vacant. But under that vacancy lies a plain, unsettling fact. Humanity didn't start when we mastered self-recording. It started long prior, quietly, everywhere. And whatever those early humans thought, felt, imagined, didn't evaporate. It streamed onward through generations, adaptation, survival. It resides in us today. Before querying what they constructed, we must query something basic. How much of their realm left no trace whatever? That's our next direction. If early humans held minds able for complexity, imagination, abstract thought, the puzzle changes. The query shifts from why they were basic to why so little of their actions stays visible now. Our past understanding forms almost wholly from what endures. And endurance isn't neutral. Time preserves not the meaningful, but the sturdy. Stone, bone, baked clay last while wood, fiber, skin, voice, memory dissolve. Gazing back over deep time, we see not full human life records. We see hardest shards of a far softer realm. For most human time, intelligence showed through materials never intended to persist. Shelters from branches, hides, grasses could shield families through cold, windy seasons, then vanish fully in years. Tools from wood, plant threads, or sinew fixed complex issues and left no mark post-decay. Knowledge dwelled in bodies and practice over objects. It lived in how people traversed landscapes, spotted weather's subtle shifts, tracked beasts over distances, grasped group relations. None fossilizes easily. Almost none lasts for study. This breeds deep distortion. Rebuilding deep past with only remnants, we confuse sturdiness for value. We presume visible remains mattered most, and absent must have never been. But absence often mirrors setting over skill. Early humans spent much time in forests, grasslands, river areas, coastlines. These dynamic spots rich in resources, motion, but ruthless in wiping evidence. Organics decay fast, floods disperse camps, sands shift to bury occupations. Over millennia, these erase nearly all defining daily life. At last ice age's end, this erasure grew as temperatures climbed globally. Ice melted. Seas rose hundreds of feet. Huge coastal flats where humans lived millennia, submerged slowly. These weren't fringe spots. They were Earth's richest, with plentiful food, steady resources, simple travel. Whole realms vanished underwater, carrying settlements, tools, burials, customs enduring millennia. What we call prehistory misses a large landscape chunk. Due to this, archaeological records favor certain societies. Stone building groups seem prominent over wood ones. Inland spots endure better than coastal. Settled places leave clearer marks than mobile. Over time, this breeds illusion that complexity surfaced only when humans settled, built lasting structures. But lastingness isn't needed for smarts. A culture moving seasonally, carrying knowledge inside, may leave nothing while holding extraordinarily detailed world grasp. To grasp this, consider how much modern life would endure similar. If power failed, digital vanished. Future diggers find concrete, metal, plastic, but miss most defining us. Talks, beliefs, music, relations, inner lives leave scant trace. Judged by endurance alone, we might seem shallow, incomplete too. Same distortion hits ancestors. Early humans surely experimented endlessly with materials, methods, social setups, world understandings. Some spread, others stayed local. Many likely surfaced, vanished repeatedly across regions. Progress didn't linear. It branched, looped, sometimes halted. Archaeological records squeeze these into simplified tales, hiding creative periods behind silences. Record silence doesn't mean life silence. Much early knowledge embedded in practice over objects. Finding water in drought. Spotting poison plants by leaf, scent subtleties. Resolving small group conflict for ongoing cooperation. These smarts forms are sophisticated yet nearly invisible to us. They relied on continuity. Broken continuity made knowledge vanish fully, no relic left. In no writing world, forgetting wasn't abstract. It risked lives. Forgetting migration paths or storm signs could kill. Thus, early societies built strong memory systems. Knowledge coded in stories, rituals, rhythms, repeated acts. Meaning wasn't ornament. It was tool. Info wrapped in importance remembered easier, lost harder. These systems complex, effective, but leave few marks we find. We analyze stone tools, measure edges, but can't reclaim stories explaining shapes or social rules on use. We identify pigments, but can't hear accompanying songs. Remains are fragments cut from once living contexts, giving purpose. This explains deep past seeming deceptively hushed. Not from humans lacking imagination or smarts. From most creations being fragile deliberately. Their realms meant for living, not preserving. They depended on memory over monuments, relations over records. Deep past isn't vacant. It's hard to hear. And in that hush, meaning's first hints surface, not as grand builds, but subtle picks. Color chosen beyond utility. Pattern repeated sans practical need. Object carried not for use, but signifying shared. These faint mind signals reaching past survival. Long prior to cities or event records, humans marked world quieter ways. These marks weren't instructions or tools. They held meaning unexplained by function. They were symbols, and symbols alter all. A symbol's mind agreement. Something physical pointing past itself. Red pigment piece doesn't heal wounds or slice meat. Neck-worn shell doesn't ease hunting. Value lies elsewhere. They convey something. Refer to ideas in thought, memory, shared grasp alone. Long-assumed symbolic acts appeared sudden, late in history. treated as threshold when humans crossed animal instinct to true culture. But evidence drops clean divide. Instead, symbolic acts appear gradual, far earlier than expected, scattered time, geography. Earliest clues as ochre, red, yellow, brown minerals scraped, ground, sometimes heated purposely. Pigments at sites over 100,000 years old, some much more. Often distant from sources, meaning collected deliberately, transported far. Ochre practical sometimes, but consistent prep, repeat use hints more. Stains skin, hides, surfaces visibly, lastingly, transforms look, marks identity. Choosing color means caring appearance over mere function. Shell beads give another peek. In ancient sites, coastal shells found deep inland, pierced carefully for stringing, wearing. Objects no clear survival role. Needed time collect, alter, carry. Value in representation, belonging, status, link, memory. Wearing such signaled shared meaning world participation. These weren't lone decoration acts. Part-growing symbolic language letting humans convey ideas sans words. Long prior formal written language, human mind fluent in symbols already. What makes early symbols notable isn't complexity, but intent. Show humans thinking past immediate now. Symbol works only if others recognize, meaning holds time. Needs memory, tradition, trust. Needs continuity sense beyond single instant. Thus, symbols groundwork for culture long before language, writing fixed stories. Allowed ideas persist as individuals passed. Repeated pattern, familiar color, worn item carry meaning generations sans explanation. Object became memory vessel. This thinking hints early humans aware not just as individuals, but enduring group members. Identity not limited to momentary self, but extended to belonging, origin. Symbols made social ties visible. Also reveal early humans' world experience. Creating symbols recognizes reality layers. Seen not all existing, objects stand for ideas, meaning shared invisibly minds. Profound cognitive change appears far earlier than writing, farming, cities. Symbols need restraint too. Not all symbolic. Choices on what matters for meaning. Implies discussion, agreement, maybe disagreement in early communities. Culture negotiated already. Since symbols often organic materials, many not survived. We see fragments, few beads, pigment traces, incised lines purpose guessed. But fragments show symbolic thought, no late humanity addition. Present deep past, awaiting enduring conditions. These early symbols not isolated. Part daily life, woven movement, ritual, interaction. Might mark life stages, alliances, seasons, beliefs beyond visible. Can't recover full meanings, but recognize creating mind kind. Same mind assigning meaning today. Same capacity letting objects carry ideas, shared understanding shape behavior. Before humans told writable stories, told through things, colors, shapes, repeated forms. Through choices saying, this matters. And remember this. Symbols preceded stories as made stories possible. Gave thought persistence sans words, meaning survival sans memory alone. And once human symbolic world dwellers, another query emerged quietly, inevitably. What happens to meaning at life end? That query leads first philosophy signs. At some point, early humans treated death differently. Animals react to death, but don't dwell. They proceed as survival requires. For humans, change occurred. Death ceased mere event, became query. Body motionless moment, no longer activity end, meaning beginning. Earliest shift signs subtle, clear. Bodies placed carefully over abandoned. Limbs posed deliberately. Graves dug intentionally. Objects beside dead. Actions needed time, effort, cooperation. No direct survival gain. Existed beyond practicality. Burying dead acknowledges post-gone mattering. earliest burials over 100,000 years old. Appear regions varied, hinting not isolated habit, but pattern where humans formed deep ties long. Some bodies ochre sprinkled, others positioned suggesting care over disposal. No accidents, choices. Such reveal profound self-understanding change. Burial implies memory, implies before-after sense. Suggests dead community part still, if remembrance only. Not mere emotional tie. Conceptual jump. Caring dead recognizes time beyond present. With recognition, earliest philosophy, not written queries or arguments, but lived inquiry. What afterlife? Where person goes? What remains? Questions need no answers to be. Asking shapes behavior. Early burials hint humans grappling ideas prehistory record. Developing continuity beliefs, identity, perhaps unseen forces. Memory moral duty. Remembering honors. Forgetting loses essential. In small interdependent groups, duty deeply felt. Dead not strangers. Parents, children, partners, friends. Thus, death rituals not abstract. Emotional survival tools. Helped process loss, keep cohesion. Created shared event framework otherwise fracturing group. Dead placed objects many purposes. Tools another journey. Identity symbols. Care expressions. Whatever, show early humans imagining beyond immediate physical. Unseen imagination capacity defines humanity. Allows future think, plan, create. Allows unknown confront. Death forces confront. Once death thinking, time new way. Life no endless present, finite curve. Awareness likely deepened alive action's significance. What done mattered now and memory, story, recall. Shift consequences, strengthened bonds, encouraged cooperation, perhaps birthed early ethics. If memory outlives body, reputation matters, behavior weighs. Earliest morals likely not written rules or authority enforced. Expectations in relationships. Lived knowing actions remembered, memory meaning carried. Death reinforced generation continuity importance. Knowledge passed not survival only, but honor predecessors. Stories, rituals, skills, links living dead. Thus, culture stretched time. Developments no cities. Farming need. No writing. Needed awareness, care. Needed reflective minds. Communities investing beyond immediate. By dead burial time, humans crossed invisible threshold. No longer world responding only, interpreting it. Doesn't mean answers deepest questions. Means asking them. And asking changes all. As human groups spread world, not alone. Shared landscapes, others looking similar, thinking different, carrying own human ways. To grasp survived, lost, look shared world. Next, much existence, modern humans not earthwalkers alone. World shared others human own ways. Different bodies, histories, adaptations, but minds tool-making, cooperating, learning. Neanderthals across Europe, Western Asia, hundreds, thousands years. Denisovans parts Asia, traces in living genomes today. Others like Homo floresiensis, Homo naledi own niches, adapting unique solutions. Not single human-dominated world. Mosaic. Long groups evolutionary failures. Dead ends ladder to us. But view unravels. Evidence shows not replaced simply. Interacted. Exchanged knowledge. Formed relations. Carry genes. Modern humans. Africa out-retains small significant Neanderthal DNA. Some Denisovan ancestry. Genetic traces, no curiosities. Affect immunity, metabolism, altitude responses. Reminders survival shared, not solo. Genetic mix tells else. Encounters not always hostile. Needed proximity, trust, communication. Needed similarity recognition. Differences not prevent connection. Challenges. Another early humanity assumption. Progress depends isolation, dominance. Reality, adaptability from exchange, learning others, integrating works, releasing not. So why one lineage remain? Answer not simple, maybe never full. Climate role. Shifting favored flexibility, wide networks. Population size mattered. Larger linked groups recover losses easier. Cultural spread faster modern humans. Innovations before lost. None implies absolute superiority. Suggests strategy difference. Neanderthals cold adapted highly. Bodies robust, tools effective. Survived extremes tens thousands years. Disappearance no less intelligent. Means vulnerable rapid change. Modern humans relied extended networks more. Info moved groups. Alliances distance. Area failed. Others support. Resilience from connection, not strength alone. In uncertainty world, connection matters. Multiple human species coexistence complicates culture story. Ideas not isolated. Techniques, beliefs, practices crossed unseen boundaries. Some modern human traditions originated elsewhere, adopted. Others lost with carriers. Means deep past, not forgotten only. Fragmented. Survived not best, most meaningful necessarily. Managed time, climate, chance narrow filter. Whole human ways disappeared with livers, yet not gone fully. Persist us small. Biology, behavior patterns, instincts shaped vanished environments. Human story no clean line. Braided river many channels, some dried, others flow. Understanding shared world changes self-view. Reminds being human never singular. Always multiple answers living, thinking, belonging. We not humanity beginning. We remains. And understand lived long shared chapter. Look closer life dismissed primitive. That life next. Imagining early human life, often picture ceaseless hardship, endless fight, constant hunger, fragile edge-balanced existence. Image ingrained deeply, misleading deeply. Most human history, people hunter-gatherers, not failed invent better, but lifestyle worked. Flexible, resilient, tuned natural rhythms closely. Far temporary civilization stage, dominant human experience, hundreds thousands years. Archaeological, anthropological evidence suggests many hunter-gatherer societies met needs, little labor surprisingly. Food via hunting, fishing, gathering, spreading risk sources. One failed, others compensated. Diets diverse often, nutrient-rich, seasonally tuned. Many cases, fewer daily hours food secure than early farm societies. Doesn't mean easy life, means balanced. Hunter-gatherers' deep environment knowledge. Understood animal migrations, plant cycles, weather signs, landscape features, precise modern, rarely requires. Knowledge not abstract. Practical, embodied, tested constantly. Past observation, participation, story over manuals. Social structures mirrored lifestyle. Groups small, mobile. Hierarchies minimal, temporary. Leadership experience, trust over force. Decisions collective, cooperation essential. No long alone survival. Such societies, equality necessity over ideal. Hoarding senseless resources changing, movement needed. Sharing ensured survival, bonds reinforced. Reputation mattered, relations everything. Generosity security increased. Arrogance isolated. Social fabric psychological effects. Identity defined belonging, competence, contribution over possessions, status. Person knew self-knowing fit. Value visible, immediate. Many today inevitable stresses absent. Little long debt, no obligation accumulation permanent. Time natural cycles structured over external schedules. Attention present focused, present life unfolded. Doesn't mean no conflict, suffering. Injury, illness, loss, real. Pressures different. Stress environmental uncertainty over social abstraction. Threats tangible, immediate over chronic, invisible. Labeling primitive projects modern assumptions back. Assume technology progress equals complexity must resemble ours count. But complexity forms many. Society sans writing, metal highly organized cognitively, socially, emotionally still. Primitive term says more discomfort than reality. Evolutionary view, Hunter-gatherer shaped human mind, far more civilization. Brains evolved, navigate social nets, read subtle cues, respond changing environments, maintain attention quiet stretches, punctuated intensity. Patterns us still. Much modern anxiety mismatch ancient wiring, contemporary life. Surrounded constant stimulation, abstract threats, systems too large perceive direct. Shaped environment no longer same form. Understanding no past romanticizing. Recognizing humanity no wait cities psychological complete. People full meaningful lives long before civilization solutions, problems. Hunter-gatherer world no prelude better. Human way worked very long. And within, humans not surviving only, creating. Impulse make beautiful, leave mark, express presence no start settled life. Emerged caves, stone, places never last meant. That creative expression next turn. Long before monuments endure meant, humans images briefly seen few. Deep caves daylight far, figures stone walls appear. Animals motion, hands rock pressed. Lines, curves, shapes layered time carefully. No casual marks. Needed planning, prep, intent. Needed light darkness carried, time survival tasks taken. Made someone compelled make. Oldest cave paintings over 40,000 years, discoveries pushed timeline deeper. Places like Chauvet, Lascaux, Altamira, images sophisticated remarkable. Animals anatomy, movement, depth understanding rendered. Limbs overlap motion suggest. Rock contours composition incorporated. Artists not blind experimenting. New doing. Extraordinary not age only, confidence. Doesn't look first art attempt. Looks mature tradition. Techniques refined. Conventions repeated. Continuity generations. Implies much earlier expressions materials not survived. Wood, bark, skin, sand images carried long before stone. Art no sudden emerge. Accumulates. Hand stencils many caves especially revealing. Human hand rock placed. Pigment blown around. Negative impression leaving. Simplest artistic gesture, most powerful one. Someone's space stood, presence proof, leave chose. Not name, story, just signal I hear. Tens thousands years, continents across, gesture same appears. Different hands, pigments, impulse same. Continuity suggests deeply human. Need seen, remembered, connected time across. Artworks no living spaces decoration. Many locations hard reach created, needing careful dark navigation, narrow passages, uneven ground. Suggests ritual part over daily. Creating act mattered finished image as. Meaning process embedded. Tells important early minds. Capable abstraction. Metaphor. Layered meaning. Could separate image subject. Let stand more. Stone-painted animal hunt. Spirit. Story. Unseen relation represent. Exact meaning lost, but assigned capacity unmistakable. Art implies audience. Even small groups saw, made perceived, meant communicate, needs shared understanding, values. Artists trusted others recognize reference even unspoken. Not survival-focused mind behavior. Reflects, interprets, imagines mind. Understands reality represented, transformed. Early art materials often ephemeral. Charcoal, pigment, soft stone fade quick. Many exist preservation accident. How many more time erased places guess only. Artistic record likely small surviving larger creative world fragment. Art memory sir. Ved 2. Sans writing societies. Images stories hold. Painted wall teaching reference. Reminding. Knowledge transmit. Anchor group identity place. Even people moved. Sites return. Reconnect shared meaning. Suggests early humans generations thinking already. Created outlast single life things. Not immortality seek, but continuity understand. Understood meaning persist individuals not. Looking ancient artworks, not creativity birth witnessing. Encountering moment creativity, us visible became. Impulse far older. Same impulse us today lives. Desire express, symbolize, presence trace leave never human mind left. There long before history record learned. As capacities refined continued, forced test planet extreme conditions. Ice advanced, climate shifted, survival ingenuity unprecedented demanded. That challenge another early humanity side reveals, not artists, but life engineers itself. As climate shifted, ice advanced, world much extremes became. Vast regions colder, drier, unpredictable more. For early humans, no temporary inconvenience. Defining condition tens thousands years lasted. Survival environment such more strength, endurance demanded. Demanded planning, foresight, cooperation level never before required. Ice age no single frozen moment, but long unstable process. Glaciers advanced, retreated. Ecosystems reorganized repeatedly. Animals migrated, behavior changed, disappeared altogether. Human cycles lived subtle signals read, adapt quickly had. Error margin thin. Survive cold, humans' complex technologies developed rarely archaeological survive. Clothing essential. Not simple covers, but layered garments heat retain tailored while movement allow. Needed materials knowledge, cutting, stitching, insulation. Needed understanding body heat loses, counteract how. Such garments likely generations past, refined, repaired. Shelter another challenge. Some regions, bone, hide, wood structures built withstand wind, snow, freeze. Mammoth bone dwellings. Eurasia parts found desperation not suggest, but planning. Carefully arranged constructions often reused, maintained. Indicate structure understanding, load distribution, environment protection. Fire central technology became. Managing fire cold not trivial. Requires fuel select, airflow control, constant attention. Early humans materials different purposes learned. Long heat or quick flames create needed. Fire warmth, not just. Light, protection, cooking, social center. Hunting large ice age animals, coordination, strategy required. Megafauna dangerous, powerful, mobile. Downtaking planning, tracking, many individuals cooperation involved. Tools specific tasks designed, maintained carefully. Animal behavior knowledge, seasonal movement, terrain essential. Organization level communication implies, shared understanding. Strategies explained, roles assigned, timing coordinated. No simple behaviors. Reflect complex social smarts. Ice Age human mobility tested too. Resources shifted, groups unfamiliar landscapes move had. Navigated sans maps, memory, stars, landmarks, inherited knowledge relying. Roots remembered abstract lines not, but experiences sequences. Rivers, hills, campsites. Mental geography part became story, practice past. Despite environment harshness, humans endure not merely. Expanded, entered uninhabitable regions previously. Learned live tundra, deserts, frozen plains. Each new environment solutions new required. Solutions created sans written instruction. Centralized planning often. This adaptability, something fundamental early humanity reveals. Intelligence not individuals, leaders concentrated, distributed groups across. Knowledge collective belonged. One person failed, others compensated. One generation struggled, next inherited refined strategies. Intelligence form little trace leaves, no monuments builds resilience. Humans Ice Age success no accident. Result cumulative learning, careful observation, social cooperation, immense time spans sustained. Capacities no sudden civilization emerge. Forged pressure long before. By ice recede began, humans mastered planet-challenging conditions, some already. Prepared not survive change just, but move it. That readiness, soon global scale tested as humans' greatest species journey ever began. At certain point, humans' familiar horizons beyond move began. Not sudden desperation migration, but gradual expansion, curiosity, opportunity, adaptation shaped. Over tens thousands years, people coastlines walked, mountain ranges crossed, rivers followed into unseen lands no human. No single journey. Many journeys time layered. Leaving known requires confidence, requires shared knowledge trust, unknown understood belief. Early humans emptiness not step, carried deep skills inheritance, stories, strategies countless generations refined. Movement informed, not reckless. Earliest major Africa expansion over 60,000 years ago began. From there, Middle East, Asia across, Europe into, eventually vast oceans separated regions. Expansion no straight path. Responded climate windows, shifting ecosystems, available resources. Groups paused, adapted, moved again. Most remarkable aspects, one early seafaring evidence. Reaching Australia like places open water crossing required, implies watercraft construction, tides currents planning, navigates sands land sight ability. Such journeys cooperation demand, foresight, trust. Not undertaken lightly. Navigation migrations intimate natural world knowledge relied. Stars, sun movements, wind patterns, ocean behavior guides became. Landmarks memorized, stories encoded preserved routes generations across. Maps mined existed, not surfaces. As new environments entered, unfamiliar plants, animals, climates encountered. Survival quick learning, discoveries sharing depended. Mistakes fatal could. Success observation, experimentation, new info integrate sans abandon worked already. This constant adaptation, human cognition shaped. Flexibility, strength became. Curiosity rewarded. Social learning innovation accelerated. Groups info-wide share more thrive likely. Knowledge portable became, people moving with overplaced tide. These migrations culture planet across carried. Symbolic practices, tools, artistic traditions, life organizing ways people traveled, new conditions encountered changed. Over time, diversity increased, not decreased. Being human single pattern not converge. Multiplied. Journey identity part became. Origin stories, roots, ancestral movements groups, self-understanding shaped. Place mattered, but movement too. Belonging one location not fixed. Woven paths taken, remembered. By continents far edges reached, humans proven extraordinary something. Not defined single environment. Could live almost anywhere. Not nature dominated, but learned listen it. World before history static not. Dynamic, interconnected, vast. Humans global already long before maps, borders existed. Carried humanity wherever went. As global presence spread, humans develop continued understanding forces larger themselves. Not just feet beneath land, but above sky. Meaning expanded outward daily survival toward more encompassing. That awareness expansion final turning point leads before history began. As planet across spread humans, attention not fixed survival, movement only. Turned outward, upward. World no longer landscape crossed or resource managed just. Became alive something, responsive something, presence filled. For early humans, physical unseen boundary thin. Mountains, rivers, animals, storms, celestial bodies inert objects not. Active participants shared world. This reality understanding often animism called. But word depth not fully capture. Not belief system nature imposed. Relating weigh it. In such world, meaning centralized not. Everywhere. Successful hunt, sudden illness, weather change, all significance carried. Events interpreted relationships web including humans, animals, ancestors, direct perception beyond forces. Live well meant balance, maintain web within. Ritual navigate that balance way emerged. Through repeated actions, gestures, sounds, movements, humans' alignment moments created world around. Rituals performed nature control not, but communicate it. Acknowledged uncertainty, sought understanding over dominance. Shamans, ritual specialists' key role likely, altered consciousness states through rhythm, fasting, isolation, plant substances, explored inner landscapes, outer real as felt. Experiences imagination dismissed not, treated insight sources, guidance, healing. Such practices trust required. Relied shared meaning frameworks. Individual experiences, collective knowledge become allowed. Stories, symbols, rituals, mind inner world connected group shared reality. Sky living system part became two. Sun, moon, stars movement observed carefully. Patterns noticed, seasons predicted, cycles remembered. Observations practical, guiding migration, planting, hunting. But symbolic too, linking human life rhythms, far larger single community. Long formal astronomy before, humans heavens watching attention, care already. This cycle's awareness deep time sense reinforced. Life understood straight line not, but repeating process emergence, change, decline, renewal. Birth, death opposites not, but larger rhythm parts. In context, places special significance took. Certain locations gathering points became ritual memory landscape converged where. No modern sense cities. Nodes meaning. Places generations across again returned. One striking example site Göbekli Tepe known today. Built over 11,000 years ago, predates agriculture usually understood. Massive stone pillars precision arranged, animal relief symbols decorated ground rise. Effort construct immense. Yet appears settlement not, but ceremonial center created. Challenges long assumptions. Suggests shared belief. Ritual people together drew before permanent farming. Meaning first come May. Food production follow May. Göbekli Tepe isolated mystery not. Visible fragment much older pattern. Human structured symbolic spaces creating long before history record them began. These spaces organized memory, identity, belief sans writing, centralized authority. Remind civilization emptiness not emerge. Emerged world meaning rich already. In living world sans history, humans nature separate not see themselves. Embedded within. Stories conquering world not about, but belonging it. Knowledge relational over abstract. Wisdom balance measured over accumulation. This world seeing not vanish overnight. Slowly transformed new living ways hold took. As populations grew, movement slowed, new pressures emerged. Humans' environment relationship change began. That change memory itself reshape would. And with history finally begin, would. Shift not all once happen. No single moment humanity old world stepped out new into. Instead, change accumulated slowly, almost imperceptibly, until people lived way no longer resembled before come what. As climate stabilized last ice age after, some groups same places longer stay began. Familiar routes shortened, seasonal movement narrowed. Plants once gathered tended be began. Animals once followed managed be began. Changes practical local conditions responses, not grand transformation plans. But consequences carried. One place staying altered land relation how. Territory fixed became. Resources owned became overshared movement through. Surpluses appeared. With them store, protect, control need. Food season outlast could. So inequality could. Agriculture life easier immediately not make. Early farming communities, often longer hours, worked less dietary diversity than hunter-gatherer ancestors. Health many regions declined. Disease-dense settlements spread easier. Yet agriculture persisted larger populations supported because larger populations power supported. With permanence, hierarchy came. Roles hardened. Leadership temporary influence shifted lasting authority. Decisions shared agreement only not made but structure enforced through. Social relationships changed. Some people control, gained resources, others depended. Writing new context within emerged. earliest uses poetry, history, not but accounting. Grain, labor, ownership records. Writing information preserved, but narrowed too. What written became mattered what not increasingly ignored. History-born management record as. Turning point this. Memory people from systems into moved. Knowledge externalized became. Instead collectively carried, stored, controlled, few interpreted. Stories once ritual, practice lived texts replaced fixed meaning place in. Brought enormous advantages. Ideas farther travel could. Complex systems coordinated could. Knowledge individual lifetime survive could. But process something lost. Lived knowledge, deep continuity faded. Constant practice skills required specialization replaced. Land relationships abstract became, units measured over experience. Meaning participation from documentation shifted. History us remember began, but selectively remembered. World writing before not disappear. Overwritten was. Values, time belonging understandings, intelligence forms not destroyed but sidelined. Survived fragments, myth, ritual, instincts no longer modern life fit neatly. Human mind society as quickly not change. Brains remain shaped hundreds thousands years, movement, cooperation, world direct engagement. Still tuned small groups, natural rhythms, meaning relationship found over accumulation. Many modern tensions mismatch this arise. Systems live constant abstraction attention demand while minds tangible connection seek. Environments navigate far larger perceive. Responsibilities direct experience beyond extend. Understanding civilization rejecting not mean. Seeing clearly means. Civilization humanity fulfillment not. One phase many among, powerful one, but not only way humans well lived. If exploration you resonated, welcome channel support liking video, sharing someone enjoy, might these questions or subscribing journeys together continue. Support helps long quiet stories wayfind others listening them. When history began, ability remember gained vast distances, long time spans across, but forgot how much already lived too. Long ages writing before blank slate not. Foundation were. We human already long before history us remember learned. That deep past, people not waiting something else become. Thinking, feeling, creating, belonging ways, shaped all followed. World theirs exist no more, but imprint us remains. Remember that not backward nostalgia look. Recognize full scope human means what. History one story tells. Deeper past another tells. And between question lies still matters now.